So the first thing that happened that I noticed, the first thing that even occurred to me was we were sleeping, like a second week we were here, we were sleeping. It had to be around 3 o'clock or so, if I remember. It had like 2 something, 3. And we had just set up the bookshelf down here. And like I can turn it, you can see.
Yeah, go ahead. That's fine.
So
okay.
our bookshelf is right there, right?
Uh-huh.
It's pretty substantial.
Yeah, it is.
It's not light, you know?
Right.
And our bedroom is right above this.
Okay.
And we're both sound asleep. I've been tested for sleep paralysis. Like scientifically, medically tested, I do not have it.
Okay.
We were both asleep around that time, and all of a sudden, I wake up from this massive crash in here. Because it was so close, I remember feeling the vibration, right?
Really?
So I was like, what is that? And I'm thinking somebody's down here. We just moved here.
Mm-hmm.
So, and my husband was a Marine, so I wake him up. And I was like, go check. And in a dead sleep, completely naked, he comes downstairs. I don't know what he was going to do if somebody was down here. But he comes downstairs, and everything is perfectly fine. No one's in the house, nothing. My landlords are in their 70s.
Okay.
There's no way those people are up at 3 a.m. making shit crash. Plus, it was too clear. Like, it sounded like it was coming from here. It sounded like it was echoing upstairs.
So the landlords that you have, they also live on the property then?
Yeah. It's a giant house on North Carrollton, right?
Okay.
North Carrollton is one of the main roads. The streetcar rides right in front of my house.
Okay.
Right? The house is 100 years old, and the house, it's split, like a condo almost. They live on one side, we live on this side. We have the living room right here when you first come in. Mm-hmm. The dining room is right here with they have the cherry wood, you can see some of it. Like this comes out, and it's like the doors or whatever. And then this is our dining room, and through that room, that is the foyer where the stairs are.
Okay.
And it goes into the kitchen.
Okay.
Right above the kitchen, past that foyer, is a storage room that our landlords use. It's a third bedroom, but we don't use it. There's a lock on our side so that there's a balcony in the back.
Okay.
They can get through the balcony, and they're kind of like hoarders.
Okay.
There's shit there. Like, they have baby stuff and they've never had babies. It's weird.
Really?
So they're kind of like hoardery about it, but they've cleaned out a bunch and then kept a bunch. I don't know. But we have a lock there. And that, whatever's in that room is apparently what's responsible for everything.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you a few questions then to start. 2 that I can think of right off the bat would be, if there is any kind of hoarding going on, then it's probably, is it older type stuff or is it newer? Like, do they have new items that they're hoarding, or is it older stuff that maybe they picked up at like a garage sale or something?
Yeah.
Okay. So a lot of times I've heard that energy will attach to items, and then if somebody picks them up at a garage sale or a thrift shop or anything like that and then brings it with them, then that can attach itself to the house. There's also the fact that the house is 100 years old, too. Do you know any of the history about the house?
I have tried to look it up, and I can't find anything. It's so hard to find out the history of a house in NOLA because of the way that they have it set up. Like, the archives you have to purchase to access are only available from 9 to 3:30 weekdays. Okay. And they're not even available online. You have to physically go there.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And that's only 1/3 of the places you have to go.
Right.
So in New Orleans, you're better off just hiring someone to do all the work. And even then, hiring someone costs something like $500.
Right.
So it's insane just to try and figure out the history
just
of
to figure
house.
out the history. Sure.
Yeah.
But it's safe to say that house has been around that area for a long time. Is it?
We're the oldest house on the block, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, Yeah, we're the oldest house on North Carrollton.
Okay. And is it pretty busy in your neighborhood? I mean, are there a lot of homes? Are there a lot of people? Is it a pretty busy area?
Yes.
Okay. So it's probably seen its share then of people who have come and gone at that house.
Plenty.
Okay. Okay. So you had that one experience where you felt like something like the shelves that you showed us that had maybe fallen over, right? That cabinet.
Yeah, it sounded
right?
like it just crashed.
Sounded like it crashed. Okay, so you had that. So what were some of the other experiences that you've had since you've been there, and how long have you lived there?
So we lived here since Endymion 2019.
Okay.
I know that means nothing to anyone else. If you look it up. Endymion is one of the Mardi Gras parades around here.
But 2019, I mean, it actually goes before COVID, before the pandemic. So
2nd, 2019. So it was that week that we moved in.
So 3 years. 3 years you've been there. So in that 3 years, and you said that things started happening immediately as soon as you moved in.
It hasn't stopped either. It's like keeps going. And it's always something new every time we try to just calm it down. All right. So first it was the bookcase. Then after about 3 months, I kind of got fed up because I'm kind of everything in its place kind of person. And the cabinets I kept going in the kitchen and the cabinets were open or the drawers were open.
Okay.
And it was just weird. My husband and I lived together for 2 years before we moved here, at least 2 years, 3 years before we moved here. And he never left cabinets open. He never left drawers open.
Well, he's military, right?
So, military.
Yeah, he's pretty organized and he's clean cut and yep.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he wasn't a gunny. He was intel.
Yeah.
Right. But I mean, the man cleans up after himself.
Sure.
You know, we are considerate of each other's space kind of thing. I don't know. So I would constantly go into the kitchen and cabinets would be open. And I'm like, what is going on? So I asked my husband about it. I was like, hey, are you leaving cabinets open? He's like, what? No. And I was like, the cabinets are open when I go in there almost all the time. And he was like, no, I bet I am leaving them open. And he was trying to play it off. And I was like, okay, I was
He's trying to justify the situation.
Yes, he does not handle this well.
Oh, really?
Not at all.
Okay. Does he believe in it or does he not believe in it?
He believes in it and it really freaks him out.
Okay.
Yeah. So after the cabinets and the discussion with my husband, we were outside. I ran into my landlords and I was like, is anything weird happening on your side? Cabinets are open. And the landlord, 3 months in, goes, oh yeah, it's haunted.
So he just straight up told you that it was haunted.
Just said it. And if you see the way this man is like a 6'4" man. He's incredibly smart. He's a chemist and a physicist.
Really?
Yeah, he speaks at seminars all over the globe to other chemists and physicists. He sells the house out. He super smart man, and he's like, oh yeah, it's haunted. He looks like he could have been a football player. He's enormous. But yeah, I was it's your landlord then, yeah? Yeah.
So your landlord is a very smart man. He bases his logic on probably scientific equations, calculations. He's a chemist, right?
Yeah.
He's works in a science-led industry, but yet he just blatantly says, "Yeah, it's haunted." Like it's nothing, right?
Yeah, he's like, "Oh yeah, it's haunted."
So has he ever told you stories?
Not unsolicited, and we've only had, I want to say, 3 exchanges about it ever.
Okay.
So it was that one. He said, "Don't worry about it. They just open and close cabinets a little bit. That's
Really?
it. It's a little girl.
Really?
I was like, okay. Yeah. That's what he said. He's like, don't worry, it's just a little girl. She's harmless, just opening, closing cabinets.
Have you ever thought of capturing this on video?
I don't know if I don't know if I want it's it's too real to want to see it yet.
I see. You'd rather
I
just
don't know if
leave
I
it as
could
that
handle that
mystery
part.
in order to show up and see the cabinets open, essentially, and leave it as that mystery.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm
now,
ready to.
Now, I'm going to ask
happen.
the question that a lot of people are probably going to think about, is that a lot of people might say, do you think it's your landlord playing tricks on you?
Definitely not.
Okay.
There's no way.
Okay.
So I'm going to try and focus on just the big stories now, because
Sure.
it's a bunch of little things that have happened.
Okay.
And the bigger stories are the ones that I think are like, my skin is crawling thinking about these things. So the first big thing that I would say happened was, I don't know what could have triggered it, but there's a door, because we live in an old house.
Mm-hmm.
The master bedroom where we sleep and the guest bedroom that's right next to it has an inside door that connects them. So like his and hers.
Okay.
Or like the parents and the baby room, that kind of thing.
Like a Jack and Jill type thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it started probably a year ago, or not long after I almost died. Because I had the clot, right? I had a clot in my brain. They had said I had it in my brain for about 10 days. When they took the MRI, they said, we don't even know how you're operating.
Really?
Because it was so big. Yeah. They said, had I waited another 48 hours, I would have been dead. They said I was a complete anomaly. They had no idea how I was even, because it went from my nose through the veins of my brain all the way back around the top of my head to the back of my neck.
Wow. Okay.
It's enormous, right?
Mm-hmm.
So had this whole experience, come home, and I want to say it was probably like 8 months to a year after that. When it was like finally starting to dissolve and like go away. Because I had MRI after MRI, right? So finally all goes away, but then all of this starts to happen. The door, there's a latch. It's one of the hook latches on our side of the bedroom doors.
Okay.
And the latch has been there for so long that when it's hooked and locked, there's a divot in the door.
Okay.
And it's significant. The only way that hook is coming out, the only way you can get it off is if you close the door, because it wants to open. So you have to close the door more, and then you can take the hook off.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So it started where my husband and I would go upstairs. We never go in that room unless we have guests coming over. Well, our printer is in there. We store linen in there. Like we don't frequent that room. We started to notice that we were coming upstairs to the bedroom for one thing or another, and the door would be open. The latch was up. The door would just be open. And I'm telling you, like, this didn't happen once or twice, a few days. It happened multiple times. Every time we left the room, we'd come back and it would be open.
Okay. And it's something that you have to physically kind of push the door in and then open the latch.
Yeah. It's so wild. Wow. So that was going on for a good stretch. Like, I want to say like 2 weeks. And my husband was losing his mind. He was like, he grew up in a very, very Catholic family. He has very old, cultish Catholic views when it comes to spirits. He thinks that every spirit wants to possess us and make us want to kill the other person. He doesn't know how to fight a spirit. He can't punch it. He can't
Right.
protect himself. He can't protect.
Right.
He freaks out. He does not handle it well. So all this is going on with the door. He's really freaking out at this point. And I was like, okay, my friends are pretty spiritual. Why don't I talk to them? We can figure something out. And we had this conversation while we were here. It's not like we were somewhere else. So that same night, my husband works nights. He stays up pretty late. I go to bed. I work 9 to 5, 8 to 5, whatever. So I go to bed and I'm just laying in bed. I turn on my sound, my music, whatever, doing my thing. And all of a sudden it felt like someone was messing with me in bed. Like someone just kind of yanked just a quick on the covers.
Okay. Yeah.
And I'm fully awake.
Right.
I had just put my music on.
Right.
Fully awake, and I feel it, and I was like, and I feel it, so I kind of sit back and I wait, and I'm looking up, I'm laying on my back, and I'm looking up, and I'm just kind of waiting to find out like what is going on here. And then something grabbed my toe.
Really?
And I was like, what? I was like, what is happening? So I text my husband really quick. I'm not a screamer. I'm not
sure.
You know, I'm just not.
But you probably knew what it was that was happening. Nobody else was in the room. Nobody else was in the house. So you knew that it was...
no other explanation.
Yeah.
My dog was not with... I was by myself, and something grabbed my big toe and like pulled it.
Did you feel threatened at the time, or did you feel as though it was more of like a nuisance?
I was just scared.
Yeah.
I was surprised.
But you didn't feel like it was a threatening gesture at all? Okay.
No, it wasn't.
It was malicious. It just was something that you didn't want to happen at that time.
Right. And I was just more of like I'm here playing around.
Right.
Like, I don't know. But it definitely wasn't threatening.
Yeah.
I was just really scared.
Yeah.
And my husband comes up and I tell him what happened. The light is still off. I tell him what happened. And then he turns the lamp on and he sees the sheer fear on my face. And he's like, this is not working. And I was like, it's fine. I just throw a t-shirt on and I come sleep on the sofa with my dog until my husband is ready to come upstairs with me.
Okay.
And then it was the very next day that I went to the shop, because, you know, I live in New Orleans. They have shops all over here for everything you can think of.
Yeah.
I got sage. I got the shell that you're supposed to do it with. And I got an obsidian because my friends, or obsidian, whatever you want, I don't know. I'm just following their lead. I don't know what any of these things are. So I grabbed one of those and I asked the people there, like, hey, what do I do? And they're like, oh, we just tell the spirits this is my house now. And I'm like, we're past that.
Yeah.
That doesn't.
Now that obsidian, that's a rock or something, or what is that?
I'll show you a picture of that too. Yeah, it's just a little stone. It's a little stone.
Yeah. And they said that's supposed to kind of ward them off then, or to at least calm down the activity.
It's specifically meant to protect you from malicious spirits.
Okay.
And so what I did, and this is crazy, and it was the size of like a $50. You know, it was a good little thing. So first thing I do is put it in the guest bedroom because that's where we think everything is happening. Well, the door opened again the next day, and I read up about the stone, and it said that it takes a couple of days for it to kind of fully have its thing happen. I was like, all right. But because the door opened, I moved it into our bedroom.
Okay.
I'm like, I don't know why I would put it in there. We want it to be protected in here.
Right.
So I moved it into our bedroom, and everything was cool. everything really calmed down a bunch. The cabinets were still happening, but very sporadically.
Mm-hmm.
It was very chill
But the
again.
cabinets weren't in your room, so it was essentially outside of the protected area.
Yeah, but accidents will actually cover a pretty large space, just not too large, right?
Okay.
So it'll cover like a certain square foot kind of thing.
Okay.
And so uh, this is where it really gets kind of crazy. A friend of mine asked to stay with us for a month. Because this door kept opening,
Mm-hmm.
I had told whoever is here or there that was doing all of it that they can have the guest bedroom. That's fine. But please leave us alone. We're here, whatever, you can have it. Well, that was really stupid because my friend was getting a divorce and needed to stay with us for a month. And she took the guest bedroom. And apparently I broke my promise by letting my friend stay there. And all sorts of shit was happening.
Really?
Like, it was insane. It was hot outside.
Mm-hmm.
Like in January, if you look at the weather of New Orleans in January,
Mm-hmm.
it was pretty warm. Like we were up to 70s, I think, in some days. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's still pretty warm for NOLA, right?
Right.
It's not the normal 70 like everyone else's 70. It's a hot
Sure.
70. Well, it was warm outside, and she was absolutely freezing. We had to get her 4 like winter fleece blankets and
Really?
layer them for her to actually like just not freeze.
Was she feeling okay? Was she sick or anything?
Not sick at all. One of the healthiest people I know.
Huh.
She's never been sick.
So
And
something is your thought
she does
that
work
maybe
at the Museum of Death.
Oh, well, that's interesting. Is your thought that maybe something was around her that was causing her to feel cold then?
Okay. Yeah. Right. So, my husband, we have a photo of my husband and his ma,
Mm-hmm.
who passed away. Big picture, framed, everything in
Mm-hmm.
that room. But we also has his grandfather's chair, who also passed away, in that room.
Okay.
So Angie is freezing, and she is feeling like something is going on in there.
Okay.
And she couldn't sleep, and all she needed to do was sleep. She had work the next day. So
Right.
she, at around 2 or 2:30, she says, I'm not here for long. I respect your space. I'm just here to get through this. And then she said, if you need somewhere to sit here. And she took her things off of the chair,
Mm-hmm.
put them on the ground. And then she said she was finally able to get to sleep. That was just the first night. So
Wow. Okay.
it continues to kind of happen. Like the cold keeps happening. And here's where it gets really weird. Like it starts to mess with me a little bit.
Mm.
So like I would walk upstairs and go into our bedroom, and our bedroom would have this really heavy feeling and cold spots.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say it was about like the 10th or so day she was here.
Mm-hmm.
I had to go to bed early because I had a busy day of work the next day. And I'm laying in bed, and all of a sudden this giant, I sound like a crazy person, this giant cloud, but it wasn't look like a cloud. It looked like it was a bunch of particles or dust.
Okay.
It was really weird, but it literally floated around the room. It started at the door that connects the two of us,
Mm-hmm.
and it floated in front of the bed by like the foot of the bed. It was probably like 7 feet in the air. You can see we have tall ceilings, right? And that's indicative of the entire house.
Okay. So those are like
I want
9
to say
foot.
we probably have, like we have somewhere from 14-foot ceilings.
Wow. Really?
Yeah. Old house,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Old NOLA house.
Mm-hmm.
So this thing has to be like 7 or 8 feet in the air, and it's just floating. It goes from, I sleep by the window of our room, whereas the door to the guest room is on my husband's side.
Okay.
So it floats from that door, the guest bedroom door, across the bed over to my side, and it kind of hangs out by my side in between me and the window for a minute. And at that point, I was like, I just can't deal with this right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I'm going to bed. You can do what you want.
Yeah.
I'm going to bed.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I was like, I can't, because at this point, so much has happened, and I'm not really scared anymore.
So now let me ask you this then. Do you think, and I know that with New Orleans, there is it's not that it's a stigma, but I think it's more like the voodoo capital of the world, essentially, right? There's a lot of...
If not Haiti, yeah. I mean, that's where it comes from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
because that's what it was. It was Haitians that were being kidnapped for slavery, and they were brought here. And between being here with like
and what I mean by
of here,
and what I mean by what I'm trying to say is that, do you think that the house over the years, I mean, it's 100 years, has ever had residents who probably put a curse on it or probably put something on it that maybe attached spirits to it? I would love to know. Yeah. Yeah.
I would love to know why and what.
Now, the good thing is you haven't had anything malicious.
Not entirely yet.
And no dark shadows or anything like that?
Not entirely yet in terms of the sequence of stories.
Oh. So
it does get very odd. Because remember, the obstinate is only supposed to protect you from malicious spirits, right?
Sure.
So this cloud happens for me, and I don't tell anyone about it. Angie, the very next night, has her own little experience with the cloud, and she came to me the following day. So this is 2 days after I experienced the cloud. She comes to me and says, like, did you see a cloud? And I was like, it just kind of freaked me out because now we both saw this cloud. So it's there, right? Then it was a few days later that Angie woke up and there was some sort of rodent or something on the bed with her.
What?
Sniffing down her. There was a rodent of some kind.
But I mean, are we talking in the terms of a physical reality, or are we talking in the terms of
physical, real, actual animal on the bed with her?
Oh my gosh.
In the middle of the night, sniffing her arm.
Oh my gosh.
She woke up. She was dreaming about it. She woke up. She screamed and flung it off the bed. All she kept saying was it had a really long tail.
Okay.
And we were like, that's not cool. That's not okay. So we told the landlord about it. He set up a bunch of traps.
Have you ever had any notification of a rat or any rodent at all in your house?
We once saw a mouse.
Okay.
But my husband is a chef. He's an expert mouse catcher.
Okay.
And we caught it. That was in the kitchen underneath the storage room.
Okay.
But we caught it, and that was...
So aside from that, you've never had anything.
This.
Yeah.
But beyond that, no.
Okay.
Nothing.
I want to thank you for watching this video. I really hope that you enjoyed it. You know, we talk about a lot of crazy stuff here, so if you want to hear more, just like and subscribe to the channel. It'd really help us out a lot. And plus, if you have a crazy story, whether it be an alien abduction, near-death experience, or something of the paranormal, or a glitch in the matrix, please let us know. Share it in the comments. We'd love to have you on the show.